All right, let's dive into one of history's greatest puzzles, the Indus Valley Civilization. For centuries, its incredible cities were totally hidden, buried under the earth. And honestly, even now that we found them, they still give us way more questions than answers. So today, we're going to peel back the layers on this ancient enigma. When I say ancient empire, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's stuff like powerful kings sitting on golden thrones, massive temples for their gods, and of course, huge armies with horse-drawn chariots, right? That's the classic playbook, from Egypt to Mesopotamia. Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The Indus Valley Civilization, which was right up there with Egypt and Mesopotamia as one of the first great civilizations on Earth, had none of that. It's like they took the rulebook for building an empire and just threw it out. So, let's start with that first massive hole in the story, the rulers. Where are they? Where are the pharaohs, the emperors, the god kings of the Indus? This is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. We're talking about huge, brilliantly planned cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. And yet, there are no confirmed palaces, no grand royal homes to show who was in charge. It seems like their whole system was built on something different, something civic, not royal. So if it wasn't kings calling the shots, what was? Well, this quote just nails it. Their power wasn't in fancy crowns or giant thrones. It was in something way more practical. Their sewer systems. And this is where you see their true genius. Forget palaces. They built the most advanced public water and sanitation systems of the ancient world. The level of coordination to pull that off, along with grid-planned cities and standardized bricks across thousands of miles, it points to an incredible civic authority that was focused on public good, not a king's glory. Okay, so society wasn't built around kings. So maybe it was all about the gods? If they didn't have palaces, they must have had giant, powerful temples, right? Well, you can probably guess where this is going. Yep, just like with palaces, we can't find any big, monumental temples. It's a huge contrast to places like Egypt, where life revolved around the temple. The Indus people were definitely spiritual, but it doesn't look like religion was the main way the state controlled everything. So what do we have? We've found thousands of these little terracotta mother goddess figures, probably for personal worship. We see these seals with a figure that some experts think might be an early version of the god Shiva. And interestingly, we have found fire altars, but really only at one major site, Kalibangan. It all points to a more personal, household faith, not a big, flashy state religion. Okay, no powerful kings, no big state religion. So what about that third pillar of every ancient empire, a powerful army? This one might be the biggest shocker of all. In the Bronze Age, the horse and chariot was the ultimate weapon. It was basically the ancient world's F-16 fighter jet. And in the Indus Valley, they just don't seem to be there. And this chart really drives the point home. The Rigvedic Aryans, who came into the region later, were completely obsessed with horses. Their whole culture was built around them and their chariots. But the Harappans, they built a civilization bigger than ancient Egypt, all without this key piece of military tech. It's wild. I love this phrase because it captures the whole paradox. They had the wheel, they had carts for moving goods, but they didn't really seem to weaponize them like everyone else did. It really suggests they just weren't as focused on war and conquest. So we've spent a lot of time on what the Indus Valley didn't have. Let's flip that around and talk about the incredible things they did have. What were their real defining features? So, real quick, let's get our bearings in time. Things start with small villages, but then they explode into what we call the mature Harappan phase. This is their golden age, when the great cities are built, when trade is booming, and when those amazing drains are constructed. This is where they really hit their stride. And these people were absolute masters of engineering. At a site called Lothal, they built this massive, complex dockyard for sea trade, a true marvel. At Kalibangan, archaeologists found the world's oldest known plowed field. And at Banawali, they even found a perfect little terracotta model of a plow, giving us a window into their farming tech. So their true legacy? It's huge. They were the very first people in the world to figure out how to grow and weave cotton. Their trade network was enormous. We find their seals and their perfectly standardized weights all the way over in Mesopotamia. And they were incredible artists, creating masterpieces like the famous dancing girl statue. We've seen how unique and brilliant they were. But all of this, it just leads us to the biggest, most frustrating mystery of them all. We know they were brilliant city planners. We know they were expert traders and amazing craftspeople. We can literally see and touch those achievements in the ruins. But we can't hear them. We have no idea what they were thinking, what stories they told, or who they were, because we can't read a single word they wrote. This is the Indus script. It's a super complex system with hundreds of unique signs found on thousands of tiny seals. But to this day, it is completely undeciphered. It's a lock we just don't have the key for. And until someone cracks it, their voices are lost to time. Which brings us to this incredible find. This is the Dholavira signboard. It's the longest inscription we've ever found. 10 massive signs that probably hung above a gate to the city. What was it trying to tell us? Was it the city's name, a welcome, a warning? We just have no idea. And that, in the end, is the true legacy of the Indus Valley. A civilization so incredibly advanced, yet so profoundly different. It's defined not by the monuments it built to its kings or gods, but by the deep, fascinating questions it left for us to solve.